On this video, we're going to dive deep into the subject of right front load versus left rear drive. We're going to cover the tools it takes to discover this and what we need to understand this. More on that when we get back. On this video, we're going to learn how to balance the right front load with the left rear drive and how to turn that into speed. Speed on the racetrack that can put you in the front and possibly into victory lane. But before we get started, let's like, share, comment on these videos, keep our channel growing because great things are happening. And I want to thank you guys for being a part of it. So, right front load versus left rear drive. I hear this all the time. I get calls and I understand by the way the call's going that people don't understand what I mean by right front control in their cars. Rebound, good rebound. When I say good rebound, I just don't mean a number of rebound. I mean good rebound. Rebound that responds well to the race car's compressed right front spring. So in this video, we're going to talk about thrust angles, right front load numbers, left rear drive, and how to balance them all together and make them work, along with rebound. Today, we're going to look at several different things. Right front loads, height of the car, travel that we're getting out of our shock, how to monitor that travel, and are we getting the nose down far enough? And are we getting the left rear up high enough? Okay? So we're going to go over our basic setup here. We're going to say we're in a USRA B mod. We're 500 pound spring. We're going to start on 650 pounds of load, 1450 3-inch number, 53% left, 53 to 54% rear, a 125/16 125/16 left rear spring, extended load 200 pounds, and if I didn't say it, we're going to go with about 60 pounds of height. That's our car setup, and this car setup is getting us a little tight on entry, which is causing us to be tight through the center. So that's our overall scenario and what we want to fix, and we want to balance out our entry speed. We wouldn't be tight on entry if we had balance between our right front and our left rear. So in this scenario, our left rear is overpowering our right front a tad bit, and now we need to fix it. So we've marked up our right front shock shaft with a marker, and we've studied that for a little bit of time, and we realized that we are not down as far as we think we should be with our to our 3-inch number. So our 1450 may be holding us up a little. That's one scenario, but we also don't like our scale numbers. Our scale numbers were a little off, so this is where we're going to drive our focus. So 90% of the time, guys will not take drive out of their car. So that is also an option. We could reduce the amount of bite that we had in our car, not necessarily our preload, because our preloads help holding the car up. We may need to increase our preload a little. But in this scenario, we're going to look at our right front scale numbers, and we're going to look at our right front down number. So as I said, we didn't really like our scale numbers, so option one might be adding some lead to the front of the car, and that would go in front of the motor plate. It would go low in the car, as low as you can get it, and it's going to go down towards the right front. This alone, 25, 30 pounds of lead down there may be enough to control the car and fix the problem. If we're slightly tight on entry, it may be enough to get it done. If we're more than a little slightly tight, then we may want to look this, it may take more than that. So we're already established, because we've got dyno charts, we've done our load stick, and we know that we're in our mid to higher 300s on our right front, so we're not going to fix our rebound. So we're going to go in, maybe add that piece of lead, and possibly decrease our 1450 to a 1400. Okay, We didn't get enough travel. We re-blacken our shafts. We go out for the feature. Now, we also have to take in consideration that in the feature that our speeds and our G-forces are most likely going to be down a little. So we're going to roughly push a 2G level in a heat race with a little bit of moisture. And we're going to probably lose about a half a G, whether it's 2.5 to 2 or 2 to 1.5. We're going to lose about a half a G-force between heat race and feature. And that half G-force is going to show up on the right front and the height of the right front. Once you get this height ironed out, I don't think you need to be changing it necessarily between heats and features. If you're on the normal 3/8 or slightly bigger 3/8 racetrack. Where the problem usually comes in on tight on entry is when we're on the slightly bigger racetracks, then we have longer straightaways, but a 3/8 corner, and this allows us to carry a little more speed before we get there. So there are things you could do with the chip or the gear. I mean, you could gear the car a little different to hit the chip it a little different. Okay, that's not my specialties, but it's something that could be done. But the general fix here is to look at the weight of the front of the car. If my right front scale number was down, you know, in that 480 or lower when I was scaling the car conventionally, I need to increase that because it'll make the car turn better. Okay, and we also know that we're high on our shaft travel, so we're going to lower our 1450 to a 1400 dumper. So we go out for our feature and we, you know, re-blacken our shaft, and we find out that we're not hitting the racetrack. So we haven't really covered that, but we'll cover it. If we are hitting the racetrack, we're done. Okay, hitting the racetrack is not an option. You're going to have to raise that car up if you're on the track. If the track's rough, you're going to have to raise that car up. You're going to have to keep that thing off the track. Okay, if you can't keep it off the track, then you're going to fight a slow condition. So we're off the track. We're down to 1400, and that number is not golden. That doesn't mean because I'm on 14, you're going to be on 14, everybody's going to be on 14. That number's not golden. Even amongst the same chassis brand, it's not golden. If I drive in deeper, I'm harder on the brakes. Maybe I utilize my brake pedal better than you do. Maybe I don't have as much front brake in the car. Maybe my anti-dive is different than your anti-dive. A lot of variables, center of gravity is different. A lot of variables are going to dictate how low your car is versus somebody else's. It doesn't matter. Their number doesn't matter. If I blacken my shaft and 1400 is still allowing for more travel, I see this with my load stick, I can get more travel out of the front of the car. Let's lower that number down. That number is a representation of height and not tire grip. Okay, my thrust angle is, I'm going to show you the thrust angle. In this graph here, thrust angle is the angle from the top of the rear spring, left rear, to the top of the right front spring. So getting the pivot point on the right front spring down doesn't decrease the height of the spring. It frees up the bind on the bolt. So don't think, oh, I put a 2-inch drop, so now I'm on a 6-inch tall spring, because you're not. You're still on a 9.5-inch tall spring. If you go, we're 9-inch springs. If you go to an 8.5-inch spring, this will help lower the top spring table down in the car. It raised the center of gravity height in the car a little, allowing weight to transfer to the right front easier. Also, my thrust angle from left rear to right front will put rebound in the front of the car without putting rebound in the shock. It'll allow you to drive through that motion easier. It'll allow the right front to hold height easier. So as that thrust angle is pushing the car into the ground, as it straightens up, it's pushing the car to the wall, and this creates a tight condition. As the rear of the car settles down, going down the straightaway, it creates a tight on entry condition. This is a problem that we're fighting. This is a problem that we're trying to fix. So we get the nose down as low as we can without hitting the racetrack. If I've said this 5 times, I'll say it 5 more times. You cannot hit the racetrack. I am quite irritable with that at this point, if you haven't noticed. So don't hit the racetrack, okay? Number one, don't hit the racetrack. Number two, get the car as low as you can in the nose without hitting the racetrack. Three, get usable rebound in your shock, okay? Speed is going to come based on rebound. So let's say I'm on a 7 rebound, and it is what it is. We don't know what the pull time on that 7 is, but for this scenario, we'll say it ain't enough. But it ain't enough. But I got a 7 rebound in. I can only create so much drive in that car before I overstimulate or overdrive that 7 rebound. So in order to have balance, I have to take drive away from the car. I have to get the nose down to make the 7 rebound work. Okay, but there's only so much speed I can create with that scenario. And then as I create more speed, I need to have more rebound to control that speed. So I go to a 10, okay? And then I'm going to add left rear to that 10 rebound. I may have to add lead to the front of the car, but now my car is going as fast as that 10 rebound can handle. So if I get to a scenario where I have more right front rebound control and my car feels loose, or I have a noticeable amount of drive that I can't seem to add to the car because maybe I've added hike or whatever, but I can't seem to add more drive, then I may need to take rebound away. But if I've over rebound my car and I haven't tuned my left rear at all, I haven't increased my right front loads, okay, I don't want the car laying on the nose for a long period of time. Okay, I don't want to add wheel offsets to get my car to lay there. If I've got a lot of wheel offset, maybe I'm starting to take it out. I'm starting to get the car back underneath of me. Wheel offsets, longer lowers, wheel spacers don't create load, they create time on the right front. It makes it easier to be on the right front. That's what it does. But it takes momentum away from the car, drive. It's adding a form of rebound to the car. If we can get our car to work without being laid on the right front, turn stub lays on the right front. And at one time, maybe in the 2010s, we were 2-inch turn stubs. Why are we not today? Made my car too lazy. This is what getting the right front out there a mile. It adds stability to the car, but it adds laziness to the car. So get the right front sucked back in, start adding maybe some load to the right front. At this point, we may have to go to a softer spring. Here's a chart that shows different spring rates at different loads and how the 2-inch number is affected by that spring. So you got a 500-pound spring and you got a 700-pound spring. And if you look, the 700-pound spring has a more controllable 2-inch number than the 500-pound spring, and it does it at the same 3-inch number. So my down number, I'm there, and my beyond down number. So if I carry the car in with a little more speed, I have better control because I'm going to stop my down travel faster with a bigger spring. Okay, so look at that chart. I'll put a link down below to download that chart. It's already on one of our websites that we did a previous video. I'll link that video in our descriptions and probably at the end of the video also, but we'll have that in there. So understand this, that rebound controls speed and entry speed is golden. And another tool that you need to put in your arsenal is a GPS timing device. I sell them. You can buy them on the internet. I've said this before. I don't have no deep deals on this thing. It's a great tool, and I think you need to own it, and I think you need to learn how to use it. And by learning that, it will create speed in your race car. Not one that you think you feel, one you see on paper, one you see on your computer. I know I have speed because I'm looking at it. I'm carrying speed into the corner. So GPS timing devices, it's a $250, $300 purchase. It is a super tool for understanding speed on entry, okay? So the things that we've learned today, get the car down on the nose, get the car as low to the racetrack as we can, have the load number, where it needs to be to keep the car off the track. Over time, you might work on the spring rate versus the load number to create a down number softness that's controlled or more controllable by the rebound. Get your dyno sheets. Understand your dyno sheets. Understand your 0 point, and make your shot guy teach you how he's creating holding power or control or good rebound of your car. Okay, understand these things. If he doesn't understand these things, it's time for a new shot guy, I guess. Understand your dyno charts and understand what your zero's doing, what your bleed's doing, what your high speed's doing. Understand what piston you have in your shock. Understand these things, because good rebound goes a tremendously long ways in controlling the car. So we're creating balance between rebound and drive, and we're trying to create speed on entry. And speed on entry will take care of our tight condition on entry. It'll also decrease our lap times and make cornering the car easier. So if these videos are helping, like and share, comment, help us grow the channel. If you have ideas for other videos, or you simply don't understand some of the stuff we talked about, feel free to call me or contact me or comment, any of the above. But let's continue to grow this thing, and let's help other people be fast too. And as always, remember, go left, go fast, God bless you, and we'll see you the next time.